as I feel that we're less than 24 hours away from ball drop on another NLL season for the Calgary Roughnecks. We're approaching the 2019 NLL season here. I figured what I did with the Calgary Flames and the Calgary Hitmen on the very first episode of my Calgary Hitmen in 6. I'll just go over the opening day roster for the Calgary Roughnecks here and go over everybody where they are in the... There's a couple different areas of the roster. I mean, you obviously got the active roster, and then you got a couple players on the practice roster, the injured reserve, physically unable to perform, and there's a couple familiar faces that are still somewhat on the team, but they're still under contract negotiations here. So anyway, I just figured let's talk a little Roughnecks here and go over the roster here that we built together for the 2019 NLL season here. And I said the first game, the home opener, is less than 24 hours away. Before I get into that, I mean, if you enjoy, following Calgary sports, Flames, Hitmen, Stampeders, Roughnecks. Also, if you enjoy the personal vlog here and there, or the scenery video, or maybe some musical entertainment, or moments of sporting events, all that stuff. Just make sure you hit like, subscribe on my YouTube channel here as I, follow the adventures of this Calgarian sports fan who, loves his Calgary sports teams and, still high on the fact that my football team won the big game. And on a side note, I'm also a Chargers fan in the NFL, and I still like them more as the San Diego Chargers, but now they're the Los Angeles Chargers. But they're in the playoffs too, and can dream that maybe both my football teams will win a championship here. So anyway, that's what all my channel is all about here. So as I have been doing more recently, is I actually find I like making my notes on Google Docs here and not scribbling down and scratching out notes here and there. But here we go here. So let's start off with the active roster here, the players that you'll see on the roster right away. And I also like to capture the production when the players hit the field here, and I'm pretty sure I will do that since tomorrow's the home opener for the Calgary Roughnecks against the Vancouver Warriors. We'll see what production they have in store for this year. So starting with the active roster here, starting off the goalie is going to be 00 Tyler Richards, who's going to be the new backup goalie for the Calgary Roughnecks here. And then starting up with defense and transition, be number 2, rookie Reece Callies. And then returning, who was the captain of the team actually last year, number 3, defense transition, Dan MacRae. And then another guy that's returning here, number 7 for defensive transition, is Tyler Burton. And then we got defensive player here, number 11, Greg Harnett. And then here's a rookie here, defensive transition, number 13, Eli Salama, who was one of the players that was drafted in the first round in the latest NLL draft that happened, in September there. So you can see that video for who the Calgary Roughnecks drafted in the draft and what they did. And then the next player that listed on I'm going by numeric order in case you haven't figured out, is number 16 defenseman Mike Carnegie is returning. And then one of the recent free agent signings that actually came from Vancouver when they were still he's been with the Stealth franchise, but the Vancouver franchise has been rebranded the Warriors, is number 18 forward Rhys Duch. If I said it right, I'll find out for sure how to say that name at the game tomorrow. But Rhys Duch is definitely brought in to add some more offense here. And then one guy that we got in the offseason in a trade here, number 19 forward Jesse King. So another, I just feel this team going ahead this season is going to be balanced both on offense and defense, and should be strong in that based on what they've shown, especially in the second half of the season last year. Yeah, they finished third in the West there, but we were one of the top teams in the second half and did knock off Colorado on the road in the playoffs. And then, the Saskatchewan Rush is definitely still be a thorn in the side there. We'll see how things go during the regular season here. So anyway, get back to the roster here. We have another rookie here, number 21 for Chris Boushy. And then I think it's another guy that we drafted in the recent draft here. I know we also drafted this next guy who was the first Roughnecks pick in the draft. Number 22, defense in transition, Shane Simpson. So he definitely can cover the other side on face-offs there. And another guy that's returning is number 25, defensive transition, Chad Cummings. And then number 26, the forward, Dan Taylor. And then the next player that's on the America roster here is number 35, goaltender Christian Del Bianco. And he definitely stole the net and took over the net in the second half of the season here. And what he's proven that I think can see, the window, this guy being the limit for this guy this year, and maybe the guy we drafted in the second round a couple years ago. We picked up one of the best goalies who was available. So anyway, continue on with the roster here. Number 44, forward Dane Dobbie, the all-time franchise leading scorer. That's continuing to add to his numbers as he continues to play. I was at the game last year that when he officially became the Calgary Roughnecks all-time leading scorer there. Last year was against the Saskatchewan Rush, the Star Wars party game. Actually, Jeff Shatler, who actually left for the Roughnecks organization to go to the Rush. He was the all-time leading scorer until Dane Dobbie took over, and as a fan as it would be, Jeff Shatler was in that game. So another thing to tidbit here. So continuing on the roster here, number 55, defense transition, Mitch Wilde, another depth player that it's returning here. Same with number 68, forward Tyler Pace. And then the next guy who's definitely very valuable again in those initial possessions at ball drops here, or face-offs, kind of similar, if you want to think of face-offs of hockey. Number 77, defenseman transition, Zach Currier is definitely one of the best at picking up those loose balls there. And then we got going down to the last three players on the active roster here. Number 81, defenseman Anthony Kalinich. And then number 89, forward Riley Loewen. And then to wrap up the 21-game roster here, number 94, defenseman transition Tyson Bell here. Now you're wondering if you really follow the Roughnecks, where's Curtis Superman Dixon or Wesley Berg here? Well, I'll get to that, in a sec here as we get through the other parts of the roster. This whole roster that I'm going over, I'll put in the description there and broken up in different sections here. But now we're gone through the active roster who's going to be playing right away here. We have a couple guys on the practice roster here, two guys on the practice roster, starting with number 8, forward Carter Dickson, one of the guys that was drafted in the latest draft. And then the last player on the practice roster is number 47, forward Shaun Tyrell. So we got two guys on the practice roster here for the Roughnecks. I'm not too sure. I know in football you got a practice roster of guys, extra guys you carry around here, but not too sure if the roster expands as the season goes on. I know that's the case in the CFL when you get later in the season and get more NFL cuts after Labor Day and that. So they've got two guys on the practice roster here. One guy made it on the physically unable to perform, the PUP list, which I'm assuming, I kind of looked this up, and there's injury reserve there, which is pretty much you put players on there to, work with the salary cap. But then I think in the NFL, the physically unable to perform list is if our player gets hurt during a football injury during preseason, where he's like on the team but can't really practice yet, and there's a lot of stipulations on that. But the one guy that's on this list is number 88 forward Ryan Martel. So that's on the physically unable to perform list. Now that I brought up the injured reserve list, another veteran on there, number 10 defenseman Curtis Manning. So I think the injured reserve list is, you're still able to perform as you have your injury, rehabbing your injury, and they put it on there for cap relief. But now we'll get to the last part of the roster here, where I mentioned those couple players, number 14 forward Wesley Berg, and number 17 forward Curtis Superman Dixon. They're on the protected player list, and basically word on the street is that the team are still in negotiations with them, and as I mentioned, there was the CBA uncertainty there, and that's definitely a delay there, but definitely hoping that we can get these guys definitely locked up, because they're definitely another big part of the offense and big faces of the franchise right now. So we'll see if I don't have any word yet on if they've signed a contract, but if they get signed before tomorrow, I guess maybe it'll be out playing, but we'll see how it goes here. But anyway, that's your 20 Calgary Roughnecks heading into the 2019 NLL season here. I definitely feel that with a lot of the returning guys here, and with a couple of rookies that we picked up in the draft here, and a couple guys that we acquired via trades or free agency, I expect this team to be relatively balanced, both offensively and defensively. And what they showed in the second half of the season, I mean, they started off really slow in the first half and did struggle a little bit on the road. Excuse me there. But I think how the Roughnecks looked in the second half of the season last season, and they were able to knock off the Colorado Mammoth on the road, and with a big comeback victory in the West semifinal, and at least they're able to stay within games against the Saskatchewan Rush, who are the defending champions. But they just haven't shown yet that they had the talent to finish them off. But as I say, we'll see how the season goes here, and I'm definitely looking forward to the upcoming NLL season. I mean, last year I personally went to 6 games, so decided why not get season tickets, and it helps that I got a 25% discount because I'm a Calgary Stampeder season ticket holder. So I'll be looking forward to coming back to the Rough House here officially as a season ticket holder. So Brad Bannister, thanks to you back in 2001 who brought lacrosse to the city of Calgary, and thanks for hanging in there until 2011. And it made sense that the Flames were able to buy the team, because it's at least 10, 11 nights of the year in the Saddledome, and just makes sense. And cross promotion here, as you can see, I got some cross promotion swag here. So anyway, if you enjoy everything I do on my YouTube channel with most of my Calgary sports here, just make sure you hit like and subscribe, and as I'll say, I'll see you in the next video, and maybe you'll see me in the Rough House here cheering on the Roughnecks, or we also nickname them the Riggers here in the city of Calgary. Thank you.